I used to believe that old age was all about grandchildren, Sunday dinners, and a house full of laughter. I believed that until my own 70s rolled around. Have you ever sat all day holding the phone, afraid to even step away for a bathroom break, waiting for a call that never comes? Have you ever stared out the window on a holiday, watching other families laugh together while yours forgets you even exist? Have you ever asked yourself, am I anything more to them than an old photo on the wall? My name is George Bailey. I'm 74 years old. And if you had told me 10 years ago that one day I would be the one to decide not to see my children and grandchildren anymore, I would have laughed in your face. But today, I'm telling you, sometimes it's better to walk away yourself than to wait for them to erase you. I was born in 1950 in a small town called Lowell, Massachusetts. We were a simple family. My father worked at a factory. My mother kept the home running. I grew up believing family was sacred. So when I had children of my own, I tried to be the father I wished I had, firm but fair, kind but demanding when needed. I worked as an electrician, sometimes pulling all-nighters at construction sites just to pay for their education, clothes, later their college tuitions. I put off my own dreams because theirs mattered more. I dreamed that when I grew old, my kids would just drop by for dinner without a reason, that my grandkids would wrap themselves around my neck just like in the movies, that I would sit by the fireplace telling stories and the whole house would be filled with laughter. Reality turned out very different. The cracks began to show slowly. Dad, we're really busy with work. Dad, maybe another time. We already made plans. Dad, why do you call so much? Everything's fine. At first, I understood. Kids grow up. They have their own lives. But as the years passed, our visits became fewer and fewer, a few times a year. Then, only at Christmas. Then, on Thanksgiving 2023, they didn't come at all. Sorry, Dad. We decided to take a vacation instead. We'll send you some pictures. I sat at a table set for 5, staring at empty chairs. I sat there listening to the clock ticking loudly in a house that had never felt so silent. And that evening, something inside me broke. I realized I was still clinging to a dream that had died long ago, still holding on to a family that no longer existed in the way I remembered. I began to remember how, when I was young, I sometimes forgot about my own parents too, how rarely I visited my mother after her stroke. I comforted myself with the same excuses: work, family, kids, no time. And I realized something painful. We are all links in the same chain of forgetting. On Christmas 2024, I decided to do something different. When my kids called, they finally remembered and said, "Dad, we're all coming over." I quietly replied, "Thank you, but I'm leaving. I want to spend the holidays alone. Call me later if you feel like it." There was a long pause on the other end. "Dad, where are you going?" "That doesn't matter anymore." And I turned off my phone. Instead of setting a table for them, I packed a small bag and drove out to a tiny cabin I had bought years ago in the woods of New Hampshire. There, with the fire crackling and the snow falling outside, I felt something I hadn't felt in years: relief. Not sadness, not loneliness. Freedom. I finally stopped waiting, stopped owing anyone, stopped hoping that someone else would fill the emptiness of my old age. And you know what? Life became clearer, sharper. I started waking up at dawn, brewing coffee, reading by the window. I took long walks in the snow until my cheeks went numb. I began writing letters not to my children, but to myself, to the George Bailey who still lived somewhere deep inside. Sure, there were moments when loneliness crept in, moments I wished I could hear their voices again. But I learned how to be my own home. In the spring of 2025, my daughter Susan showed up unexpectedly, with my grandchildren grown now, standing awkwardly at my doorstep. "Dad, we miss you." I looked at them and felt warmth, but I also knew the price of that warmth now. I invited them in for a cup of tea, no bitterness, no expectations. And I realized something. True visits only happen when they come freely, not out of guilt or obligation. They stayed for a couple of hours, and then they left. and I stayed behind but no longer empty inside. I often think now, how many older people are living with the same painful waiting? How many of us are holding the door open for people who already walked out long ago? That's why I say now, sometimes you have to close the door yourself. Not out of anger, not out of bitterness, but out of respect for yourself. You should never fight for a place in someone's life if they won't fight for you. You should never beg for love. It either comes freely or it doesn't come at all. I live, I breathe, I am free. And if one day you feel that waiting hurts more than letting go, remember, sometimes letting go is the greatest love you can give yourself.